Hi, I'm Lauren. Welcome to my very, very messy home. Well, at least it's messy to me. I am a minimalist for the most part. I'm a bit of a cozy minimalist. So I do have kind of a lot of things, I guess, to some minimalists, but for me, it's not very much compared to what I grew up with. I did try to record into the videos, however, my microphone on my camera was not on. I think it needs to be recharged. But at the end of a long week, my kids go back to their dads, and it is the last week of school. Today is the last day of school, and I dropped them off knowing I was going to come back and be in the thick of it. The kitchen, the living room, especially the kids' rooms, and I am not the perfect mom. I have been very much trying to instill cleanliness habits into my 6 and 9-year-old, but it was a whirlwind week of strep throat, classroom parties, preparing for classroom parties, somewhat beginning of summer vibes. We had Memorial Day weekend. I took an afternoon off to go play volleyball, and I've been really trying to keep up with doing minimum 8,000 steps a day. So my focus has been a little off of cleanliness lately. So I'm giving myself grace and knowing that life is just happening on life's terms and we can clean as we go. There are Legos everywhere. Their bed everything needs to be washed every week. The food plates that come downstairs and don't go back upstairs, the towels, the toothpaste on the mirror, all of the things. And I got a new shower curtain that's too short. So frugal mistake. I could try to resell it, and I may try to put it on eBay, but I'll also be okay letting it go. I got it at a thrift store for pretty cheap, so it's not a huge loss. We're not perfect over here. That's what this video is about today. If you're anything like me, I know you probably try to keep things perfect. I did not grow up in a clean or clear or organized home. Our home was not just full of things, but I had 2 working parents, and it was difficult, to say the least, for them to keep up with the cleanliness side of things. That means, cleaners and vacuuming and sweeping. And it's probably why I became a minimalist in the first place. I became a trauma therapist at one point in my life as well, which I no longer practice. And some of it was in an effort to try to save myself and my family and to understand, why do we do this? Why do we accumulate? Why could we not keep things clean? Why was it chaos? And some of those questions have been answered in my life, and some of them really haven't. And the truth is, we're all doing the best we can with what we were given. And I do appreciate and love my parents for the things they did right. And then I have taken some other steps in some other directions, namely cleanliness, minimalism, and financial. But I also recognize that my version of clean is probably different than a lot of people's. And I'm just now at 43 looking around and realizing I don't have a schedule for deep cleaning. I don't know how often these things should be done. And really experimenting with the amount of things I have in my house and my capacity to keep them clean. I loved my grandmother's houses growing up and how cozy and clean, impeccably clean they were my entire life. And I strive for this, but when I have tried to accumulate beautiful things like I remember having at their places, I cannot seem to keep up with them. And I have a feeling this modern world is a part of it. We have such an influx of things that they didn't have. Also, women being in the home for longer periods of time was definitely larger in the past. So, yeah, I want my house to be full of beautiful, perfectly clean, curated things. But the reality is not matching my fantasy self. So we are always coming to terms with what is and what could be, and striving for the next right thing on each day, and trying to figure out how to implement systems and make cleaning and tidying and organizing and decluttering a joyful process. So thank you so much for joining me. If you like frugality, minimalism, parenting, early retirement videos, then you're in the right place. And I would love it if you would consider liking and subscribing and following along this brand new creator. So thank you again for being here. And I will go ahead and do some talking words on screen with my face about some frugal tips that I use in each area of my home. I'm Lauren. I've had to re-record this a few times because Thursday is landscaping day. So I'm going to try to apply studio sound to this recording so that hopefully you don't hear all of the weed whackers in the background. So the ways that I cut my electricity bill are I use an air fryer slash convection oven most of the time for most of the meals. It significantly lowers your energy usage, especially with prices going up. This is a great way to save. I did buy during the Memorial Day sale, so I got one that was highly recommended and big enough for the needs of my family. It's a countertop one. I'm not going to link it. I don't know how to do any of that yet, but eventually I will link my products in the description. I do full loads of laundry on cold. It uses a similar amount of electricity to wash a full load as a small load. When I put it in the dryer, I sometimes have to tumble twice if it's a large load, but I take out the big things like towels and sheets and blankets and hang them over my railing and let them continue to dry after the first go round on the railing. They dry very quickly, usually 10 to 15 minutes. The clothes and the rest of it can dry at the normal pace. I bought new bulbs. I bought fuel efficient, energy efficient bulbs. I found them at the thrift store even cheaper. I was able to install power strips that I got, Power Surge power strips from the thrift store again for $4 a piece, and plug them into highly used areas like the kids' rooms and the living room. So when I'm not using those lights and appliances because it's very bright in Oahu during the day, I just turn everything off. My potentials for electricity savings in the long run. A deep freeze here on Oahu, a 5 cubic foot, runs $8 to $10 per month, but it would save on trips to the grocery store and allow me to buy things on sale prices when they do go on sale and buy in bulk. So that is something I'm considering, but it may be more of a break-even venture, but it would save time. An espresso machine. This has come up many times. Hold that thought. detergent, dish soap. I bought a bunch of toilet paper. There are things that I don't buy every month. So some months for grocery budgets are larger. I don't have a set budget that I do. I roughly start at 500 and sort of allow myself to go up to 800 every month. I have 2 children who are 6 and 9. My partner and I live here, so it's 4 people on Oahu, one of the most expensive cities, or well, islands, let's put it in the US, technically in the US. And so in the kitchen, I tend to use an air fryer slash convection oven that I just got. I have stopped using my large oven. I do still use it occasionally if I really want to batch cook. I have not bought a deep freeze yet, which I'm considering. And if I do, I probably will have days where I batch cook in the oven because I can make larger things in there. But as far as dinner for the week goes, I generally make it in my little convection oven. It uses so much less power. Big ovens take a lot of electricity. On that same note, I tend to use my Instant Pot almost every day. Even though we live in a tropical environment, I make a lot of soups. We turn on the fans and we eat our soup. And also it's a good way to get in all my veggies. We're a little tired of turkey soup right now, but what can you do? Also, as far as the deals go, I do have a Costco membership, and the majority of my food is from Costco, and I do plan and meal prep there. Recently, I stopped buying as much red meat as it is $2 to $3 more per pound than turkey or chicken. And on that note, again, we have been buying beans and cutting down on our meat consumption altogether. I was plant-based for almost a decade, and though you can save a lot of money being plant-based, and I know some people believe that you can have it's cheaper to be plant-based. I have not found that to be true. Actually, when I was plant-based, I feel like I spent more money, and some of that was food waste because it is easy to buy too much produce and have not timed things well. Also, being hungry all the time, I felt like I had to constantly stop for food at times. Just not being as protein heavy. One of the main reasons I'm no longer plant-based is that the satiation part was really difficult for me. It worked for me for a long time, and then it didn't. And I won't get into the ethics of that, but I think that you can still have a good budget with either type of diet, omnivore or plant-based. What I do with my kids is we do a lot of crafts. And yes, crafts can get expensive, but the price of toys and the price of cleaning up toys and throwing away toys and repurposing them or giving them to the thrift store, I find that when we have our favorite activity so far that we have done for years now is we look up fairy house tutorials using cardboard and plastic bottles on YouTube, and we take our boxes and our plastic bottles and we make elaborate fairy houses out of them. And then I make fairy doll houses, so I leave a backside open and I put in a floor so that my kids can actually use them. And I've found that the little fairy garden figurines on Amazon are very inexpensive, and there are so many different varieties. And yeah, so for $14 a few times a year, we can get a whole slew of toys. It's also aesthetically pleasing for me over regular toys. I am someone who is very overstimulated with colors and plastic and all that stuff. And now technically a lot of the fairy house stuff is made of resin, so I hear what you're saying. I hear what I'm saying to myself, but we do that. That's something Frugal we do, is we do a lot of crafts. To me, spending quality time with my kids is important, but I don't have to play Barbies. I don't have to build Legos. I don't have to do the things that I don't want to do. Some families like to do those kinds of things. I like to play outside. I play catch with my girls. That is also a favorite pastime. So to each their own. And I also believe in simplicity parenting. So I involve my kids in the making of food and doing the dishes and the cleaning, and we're getting there. So That's something that we do together. Making food is one of my favorite activities to do with them. We go to the pool a lot and we go to the beach a lot. Also, mostly free and frugal. The pool we already pay for with our condo that we rent. So there you have that. And as far as deals go in the kitchen, I talk a lot about Costco. So many lawnmowers. Okay, so I did drop Netflix from my subscriptions and I went yearly for Amazon and Disney. I was monthly on Disney and I decided we have had this for several years. Why would I not pay less and just pay for the year? So now I have paid for the year for Amazon and Disney in April and then May. So I know about when it will come around, and I did set a reminder for myself. And I do pay for YouTube Premium. Another frugal tip is to pay for YouTube Premium through YouTube. If you pay through Apple, you're paying an extra $3 to $5 a month. Didn't realize there was an upcharge, so I canceled my subscription there and ended up starting my subscription through YouTube once that ran out. For the grocery budget, I mostly shop at Costco, almost exclusively now. I was shopping at the Safeway down the street and using a lot of the coupons, and now I do still stop at Safeway when we forget something or when we need something, and I almost always shop on sale. I pretty much don't buy anything full price. I do buy some things smaller at the local grocery store. We do ice cream every Friday. I'm not going to be buying in bulk. I don't have the freezer space. Back to the deep freeze in Costco. This would really save me time and money, I think, at this point. So I have been on Facebook Marketplace looking for a deep freeze. If I find one with somebody willing to deliver it to me, even better. Sometimes they happen to be selling them at Costco. I just look every time I go. It's going to happen. So I spend $500 every 3 weeks or so at Costco, approximately. I do give myself a $200 to $300 swing. Recently, we spent $800 because we got a 6-month supply of cat food, cat litter, laundry detergent, same with dishwashing detergent and dishwasher powder. So occasionally we have big grocery buys that we don't buy every month. So I wish I could say I had a fixed grocery budget, but for a family of 4, it's between $500 to $800 on Oahu here in 2026. Clearance and TJ Maxx. A lot of people poo-poo TJ Maxx as a way to save money, but I recently found organic rolled oats at Ross for $3.99 a pound. Cheaper than Costco. I bought 2 bags. I do buy honey there sometimes because I need the squeeze bottle, but I do buy in bulk on Amazon. I buy a 25-pound thing of honey, especially when it's on sale. I just found my protein powder on clearance for $6. It's on clearance right now at Whole Foods for $23. I found it at TJ Maxx for $6. I bought 6 tubs. They're the small ones, but it's still, it's a steal. So for the people out there who don't use TJ Maxx or Ross for their grocery finds, that's fine. If it makes you feel like you get the heebie-jeebies, I get it, that's fine. I also buy my liquid IV there at TJ Maxx when it's on super sale. Okay, crafts. I do buy crafts for the kids. I give myself a fun budget every month. I bought a gnome for the garden. I bought a leaf mulcher. I'm composting at home. I'm reducing my waste. I have a garden. It's not necessarily cheaper than buying from, say, Costco, but I like growing my own greens. It's a hobby. It's beautiful. I do grow flowers. I'm trying to cut down on my flower budget. It doesn't always fit into the budget, so I grow things that I can put around the house that make it smell wonderful and look beautiful. It's just what I do. So that leads me to the end of the frugal, tip section. The thrift store I shop at the most now is the church thrift store. They're open Wednesdays and Saturdays from 9 to 1. They have a 90s garage sale pricing. I'm pretty sure you could haggle if you want. They give a lot of stuff away for free. I got a free coffee mug and free Anthropology shorts the other day. I probably won't wear them. I'm going to put them on Poshmark, see if I can make $10. So yeah, it ends up being free if you sell the free stuff and just buy the $3 stuff. But we'll see about that. That's probably just my justification machine on full. The thing that has been coming up for me a lot is I almost had a panic attack the other day with my finances because I went way down the news economy rabbit hole. Here is my beef. Does it feel good for you to be gamifying and to be shopping for the cheapest toilet paper per sheet? Sometimes the answer to this is yes. And I have gone to Costco and gotten my haul, and I know I need toilet paper or I know I need paper towels, and I just don't have the space or the capacity to put that giant thing in my cart. It's traumatizing just being at Costco. So I shop at the busiest Costco in the world, and I sometimes just order for a few dollars more on Amazon to have it sent to my door. Sometimes toilet paper and paper towels go on sale and I get them for cheaper. Sometimes I don't when we need them. I'm not sweating the $2 or $3. I do understand that it is important to save as much as possible, and I do try my best. But as a single mom, sometimes I just don't want to cook. Sometimes I stop at Safeway and I get chicken tenders and JoJo's, which are potato wedges. And that's okay. It's in the fun budget. I have wiggle room each month. Because I've made so many frugal choices in my life, I actually have a lot more freedom to spend during those stressful times. So anyway, if you got something out of this video, I hope you'll consider liking and subscribing and following for more. I really appreciate you being here, and please drop some frugal tips in the comments if you have them. I would love to start a community and share what you guys are doing to make the most out of your money. Bye.